All right, so today we're discussing Mank, 2020 film. It just came out on Netflix on Friday, and it's a David Fincher film. It's kind of like his pet project. He apparently had been working on this movie for a long time. So the movie is about a Hollywood writer, Herman Mankiewicz. He's selected by Orson Welles to basically write what would become Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
All right, first question actually. Have any of you guys seen Citizen Kane?
I think I watched it with you for us.
Yes, but I don't remember much of it. I just remember it was about
Okay.
a newspaperman who was extremely wealthy. Yeah, and that's it.
I haven't seen it, but I know a lot about it. And obviously, for any, film buffs, like it, you would already know that it's often talked about as maybe the greatest movie of all time, right? And it's back from the 1940s. So it has that kind of pedigree, and I don't know how you guys feel about that, but it certainly is in that conversation all the time.
It was on nobody's list, so I think that says quite a bit. But
Oh my God,
I think this movie is definitely for people who are huge fans of Citizen Kane. I think if you're gonna watch this movie, you kind of have to watch Citizen Kane beforehand to get the full breadth of what they're trying to do in this movie.
Or as an alternative, people who are just fans of old Hollywood and how it operated, right?
Sure.
Yeah, like film history almost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think honestly, specifically Citizen Kane, because there is a lot of this movie that is reminiscent of Citizen Kane.
Yeah, in terms of context and like understanding even the plot points, you kind of have to have seen it.
So getting
Yeah.
back to Mank, a lot of the characters, as they were introduced, I actually paused the movie to look up their histories and their backgrounds because I wasn't familiar at all with any of this, right?
This movie is a historical in a lot of ways, right? So I think,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's almost like a biopic, right?
there's a lot of times where I was remembering like social studies class, and I don't know if you guys had that same experience, but when they mentioned William Randolph Hearst, who is
Right.
obviously, if not named in Citizen Kane, he is without a doubt the inspiration
Yeah.
for Charles Kane. Am I making up that name? Charles Foster Kane, yeah,
Yeah,
from Citizen Kane, right? So and he's a real person. So like we're almost going through like several layers watching this movie.
Oh, in fact, he's
so
in the movie.
He's in the movie, right? Yeah. So Fahad, did that enhance your experience at all? And I mean, I think it.
Oh,
it
of
had
course
to.
it did. But it also gave me the necessary context to appreciate the movie, right? I
Yeah.
think without it, I would have been lost.
So I mentioned that Citizen Kane was a very boring movie, and this is a movie about like I guess that being written. So I think that kind of tells you what I thought about this movie too. I found
Yeah.
it quite boring.
Yeah.
I would agree. I kept thinking to myself, and again, without having seen Citizen Kane, so I had a different experience than you guys, but I know a lot about it. I just kept thinking, like, is like the sheer subject matter of that movie's creation, is that interesting enough to carry its own film? And like, I
No.
mean, yeah, the answer was no by the end of it. So I mean, especially on plot, I came in very low on this movie.
100%.
There's a scene where Mankiewicz is like, if you're writing about a guy, you're not going to be able to give the essence of the guy's life through a movie. And that whole comment was self-referential, right? We're watching a movie about Mankiewicz, and we're not going to.
I'll give you the exact quote. It was, the narrative, and this is Mank talking, right?
Yeah.
He says, the narrative is one big circle, like a cinnamon roll, not a straight line pointing to the nearest exit. You cannot capture a man's entire life in 2 hours. All you can hope is to leave an impression of one. This movie is 2 hours and 11 minutes. If you cut out the credits, it's probably 2 hours and 5 minutes. Like that's
Yeah.
like right on the head.
But here's why I say that you kind of have to have seen Citizen Kane. If you loved Citizen Kane, you're gonna love this movie. Why? They basically made Citizen Kane again. This is
I don't
the
know about
same
that, Farhan.
exact. It's the same tone, same
So
kind of structure in terms of plot. So when you guys think it jumps around, that's what Citizen Kane does. In fact, that's what most movies back in the day used to
The
do.
same transitions,
Same
the same exact
transitions,
black and white, the same
exact
aesthetics.
same thing. So they made
Yeah.
Citizen Kane, and I don't know if that was the purpose, but that's how I felt watching it. I felt exactly as bored as I did watching Citizen Kane.
as someone who liked the movie, what was engaging was the characters. They were all interesting, and that kept me engaged. It wasn't
Right, yeah,
the fact that
absolutely.
it was mocking Citizen Kane or just trying to match the aesthetics or whatever it was. I think that's secondary.
Right.
The character study part is very true, and I think is reflected in our scores too. We rated the writing and the acting to be quite high. The essence of the characters it comes through in the writing specifically, not so much through the story itself. And the acting we also thought was pretty strong. Gary Oldman did a pretty good job. Amanda Seyfried.
Yeah.
Lily
Collins too. Yeah, I enjoyed
Yeah.
her character.
What about Charles Dance
William
as
Randolph
William
Hearst.
Hearst, the Lancaster?
Yep. The Lancaster?
Yeah, from Game of Thrones.
A Lannister.
The Lannister. yes, yes.
A Lancaster.
Same
Lancaster is an Amish town in Pennsylvania.
Oh, is it? You would know.
Yeah.
As far as overall suggestion of this movie, again, I think we made it very clear. If you have seen Citizen Kane, and if you enjoyed that movie, you probably will definitely enjoy this movie.
And the other thing is, besides Citizen Kane, I think you need to look into these individual characters and who they were before you watch this movie. Just a little bit.
Yeah, that would probably enhance your enjoyment of the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I would necessarily recommend this widely, but guys, I'm desperate for new movies, and this was on Netflix. It was sitting there, right there to watch. I mean, I was gonna watch it one way or the other.
Not a very hyped movie though. Even on Netflix, I had to search for it. It was not one of the.
It wasn't featured.
Wasn't featured.